In 90s and noughties New York, Sean Diddy Combs was the person to be seen with.
The fire marshals came. I just remember Puff, getting on the mic when they were coming in and being like, hey, Mr. Fire Marshal, don't shut down the sexy. Don't shut down the sexy. Look at all these honeys here. I'll set you up with the table.
What was it like to be moving in his world back then?
He really was sort of like the Pied Piper, if you will, of the most elite level, partying of that time.
Amy DuBois was the first black American woman to run a major mainstream magazine in the States, based in Manhattan at a time when hip-hop was at its zenith.
Urban culture really ran the city. That's where all, so much of the money was. You had all the finance bros like trying to get into puffy parties. You had all the fashion executives trying to get into puffy parties.
Behind the glamour, prosecutors now allege there was a man capable of sexual abuse, violence, and a serious abuse of power. Criminal charges which he's already pleaded not guilty to and strenuously denies.
Puff never particularly liked me that much. I wasn't that interesting to him, I think. He was very dismissive. He really reserved that attention for the people that he was either attracted to or the people that he thought were important enough to his business success for him to kind of give that kind of attention to.
There was, she says, a tremendous amount of misogyny running through music at the time.
Things that, in today's culture would give you a tremendous amount of pause. So many things happened to me. It would be difficult to explain them all, but everything from getting, groped at parties to getting locked in a limousine with, an urban music executive and, having him refuse to let me out until I did whatever he thought I was going to do, which I didn't do. There was just so many things that happened to us, and we didn't have the vocabulary to really understand the degree to which these were problematic. Everything that was happening during that time, it was more of a sort of thread that ran throughout the culture.
Because she was able to put some of Diddy's up-and-coming artists in her magazines, she was invited to his parties, and says the man she met lacked warmth and seemed complicated.
While he was very accepted and even welcomed, by Anna Wintour, for example, and the sort of highest echelons of the fashion world. He was never known for being a calm kind of individual. When he walked in a room, like all of the energy changed. Immediately the area around him would become kind of crowded and with everybody vying for his attention.
Did people know not to cross him?
Yes.
And
yes.
What makes you say that? Well, the rumours, I guess, of what he could do.
There were a lot of people, within journalism, within media, and also within other industries that were afraid of his influence and also afraid of his temper.
Did you see him lose his cool ever?
Of course. When things at parties wouldn't go his way, or somebody didn't bring him something quickly enough, or if there was a sort of meeting and, the conversation wasn't going his way, he would just kind of, snap. And he was just not afraid to, yell at whoever was there. There was not a lot of boundaries in his communication, let's just put it that way.
Back then, a ticket to one of Diddy's star-studded white parties was the ultimate invite.
You walk in and it's like nothing you've ever seen before. You would literally be turned away if your outfit was wrong. Puffy did not sort of tolerate people in his parties that didn't look grown and sexy, as it were. It was just every bold-faced name you could possibly imagine. It was, Donna Karan and Ashton Kutcher and Missy Elliott. This gorgeous crowd. His mansion was decked out. all the furniture was white. There were sort of people dressed as mermaids. In the pool, people were handing out, weed brownies. On silver trays. He was bringing together these sort of elite mainstream crowds along with these elite kind of urban and hip-hop crowds.
Diddy seemed to have the golden touch, expanding his music into business enterprises that in 2022 reportedly took his net worth to £1 billion.
I think that in the Black community, there is a feeling that, if a Black man is successful, you don't want to bring him down because they're not, that many. These are cultural forces that are rooted in the systemic racism that's present in the United States. But I think that these were part of what potentially protected Puffy against people speaking out.
For around 10 years, Combs had a relationship with the singer Cassie, which ended in 2018. Once over, she filed a lawsuit that both parties eventually settled, alleging she was trafficked, raped, drugged and beaten by the rapper on many occasions, which he denied. And we've since heard her say similar things in court.
The last party that I ever went to, I think it was a party for post-Grammys in 2017 or something like that, 2018. And the vibe was very different. He was really kind of isolated in a corner with Cassie, looking very unhappy. Cassie did look very glassy-eyed, and there was a sadness about her energy. Whatever was happening between the two of them, I mean, it didn't feel positive. They were sort of holed up in the corner for, almost the entire night. It did feel very different, from the kind of jubilant kind of energy that he projected, in his earlier incarnations.
For Diddy, his freedom depends on how these next few weeks go. His representatives claim he is the victim of a reckless media circus, saying he categorically denies he sexually abused anyone and wants to prove his innocence. In particular, they say, he looks forward to establishing the truth based on evidence, not speculation. Katie Spencer, Sky News.